All right, let's dive into a book that you don't just read, you feel it, right down to your bones. I'm talking about Arundhati Roy's masterpiece, The God of Small Things. It's a story that's woven from memory, love, and just devastating tragedy. And today, we're going to pull apart the threads to see how it builds its incredible power.
And this quote, this is the whole thing, right here. The entire story hinges on this one powerful idea, that a single day, just one, can completely detonate a family, silence a child, and send ripples out across generations. It's the moment that everything in the story is either hurtling towards or trying to escape from.
So, how are we going to tackle this? We're going to look at 5 key ideas that are really the engine of the novel. And just so you know, this isn't going to be a simple plot summary. We're going under the hood to see what makes this unforgettable story tick.
Okay, first up, a day can change everything. The entire story is really built around one central tragedy, the arrival and accidental death of a young English cousin, Sophie Mol. This is the moment the world cracks right open.
You know, the thing about this book is it doesn't move in a straight line. It works just like a memory does. It circles back to this tragic day over and over again. We actually start with the funeral, and then we jump backwards and forwards through time, slowly, piece by piece, putting together all the small, seemingly random events that led to this one catastrophic moment.
Now, to understand the tragedy, you have to understand the world where it happened. So let's go to the Ayemenem house in Kerala. This is a place that is just simmering with unspoken tensions and a lot of broken dreams.
And listen, this is not a happy household. It's more like a collection of wounded people who are all trapped together. You've got Amu, the divorced daughter, who's basically treated like a disgrace. Her twins, Estha and Rahel, her brother Cheko, who's obsessed with all things English and thinks he's better than everyone else, and their grandaunt, baby Kokama, a woman whose bitterness just poisons the very air they breathe. And then there's Velutha. He's a carpenter from the untouchable caste, the absolute lowest rung on the social ladder, and his kindness to the children puts him on a direct collision course with this family.
This quote about Amu just perfectly captures this deep sense of hopelessness that she lives with. I mean, can you imagine? She feels like her life is already over at 27. And it's this desperation, this feeling of having absolutely nothing left to lose, that pushes her to break society's biggest, most sacred rules.
And that brings us to the novel's true center, the invisible, crushing force that governs this entire world, the love laws. This is what the story is really, truly about.
So, what are the love laws? Well, they're the rules that nobody writes down but everybody knows. They dictate every single interaction in Ayemenem. They're about caste, class, family, religion. They decide who you're allowed to touch, who you can speak to, and, most importantly, who you are allowed to love.
And Arundhati Roy just says it so perfectly here. It's not just who you can love, but how you can love them, and even how much love is permitted. And to break these laws, well, that's to invite complete and total destruction.
And here's what those laws look like in the real world. On one side, you have the Ipe family. They're landowning Syrian Christians. They're touchable. On the other side, you have Velutha, a Paravan, and untouchable. The social gap between them isn't just a gap, it's a chasm. It's considered absolute, uncrossable. So the love that starts to grow between Amu and Velutha isn't just forbidden. In their world, it's literally unthinkable.
But here's the thing. This tragedy isn't just some private family drama. No, it's the moment where these huge historical forces, like caste and communism, slam into small personal choices, and they just crush the people who are caught in the middle.
Just look at how fast everything comes apart. We're talking about just 24 hours. The day starts with this tense run-in with a communist march. Then, a really disturbing incident at a movie theater terrifies young Estha. That night, Amu and Velutha, fueled by desperation and love, they meet. Their transgression, combined with a sudden burst of Amu's rage at the kids, leads them to run away in a boat, which ends with Sophie Mol drowning. It is a perfect, tragic storm, a domino effect of catastrophe.
And in the immediate aftermath, in all that grief and chaos, the family's prejudice and fear turn the tragedy into a weapon. Baby Kochama, who resents Velutha and his connection with Amu, sees her chance. She goes to the police and convinces them that Velutha, the untouchable, is responsible for everything.
And that brings us to the devastating price that every single person pays for what happened on that one day. This is the cost of living after the love laws have been broken.
Baby Kochama forces little Estha to identify Velutha to the police. This betrayal just shatters him, The trauma is so deep that he simply stops speaking. And this beautiful, heartbreaking quote describes his silence. It's not a choice, really. It's a kind of psychological hibernation. It's his mind retreating from a world that has become too horrible to bear.
And the consequences from there? Well, it's the complete and total destruction of this family. Volutha is murdered by the police. The twins are literally torn apart, sent to opposite ends of the country. Amu is kicked out by her own family for the shame she brought on them, and she dies alone and broken. And Rahul is just left to drift through life, unmoored by the loss of her twin, her mother, and her innocence.
23. 23 years. Let that number just sink in for a second. A single day, one single day, cost these two children almost a quarter-century of their lives apart. It's just a staggering way to measure the damage, the very real human cost of a society's rigid, unforgiving rules.
So in the end, the novel leaves us with this one haunting question. And the answer, laid bare in the ruins of the Ayemenem family, is everything. It cost you your life, your voice, your family, your future. It's a devastating look at how the big, historical forces of society can reach down and crush the small, personal things that make us human.